And for many in Europe, the past few years have been another reminder that freedom must always be defended and constantly nurtured. Today, Kosovo is a democracy that has continuously strengthened. Our institutions hold elections that are free and competitive, the freest and most competitive in our entire region. Our young people and our brilliant diaspora drive a digital economy that connects Pristina to Berlin, to Munich, and far beyond. Our foreign policy is deeply anchored in Euro-Atlantic values because we know, our people know, where we belong. However, democracy across Europe is under pressure. The threats we face are deliberate and persistent. They arrive not only with tanks, but also through online trolls. They move not only across borders, but also across news feeds. They exploit disinformation, division, and disguise aggression as grievance. The Kremlin wages an imperial war against Ukraine and its neighbors, and at the same time works to undermine democracies beyond Ukraine's borders. In our region, Serbia, Russia's proxy and main enabler, continuously tries to undermine Kosovo's sovereignty through destabilization, disinformation, and by supporting terrorist and criminal groups. The aim is to reverse the very verdict of history and to undo everything that democracies, including Germany, have achieved together. Kosovo will not be intimidated. We know how aggressors act like, what they can do, and what they will do if we do not stop them together. Ultimately, the answer to violence is rule of law. The answer to propaganda is truth. The answer to fear is courage, shared and renewed courage. And most importantly, the answer to aggressors disguised as peacemakers is to have strong alliances. Only the alliance of democracies can deter those who seek to drag us backwards. From our experience, we've learned 3 lessons for defending democracy in the 21st century. The first lesson is that freedom must never be taken for granted. Europe has learned this many times before. So did we in Kosovo, and Ukraine reminds us again and again. Freedom must be defended every single day. It means standing united against aggressors. It means refusing to fall into the trap of complacency, disinformation, or even fatigue. Therefore, we must continue to invest in our democracies, even when that requires economic sacrifice, even when that requires spending much more on defense. Because in the very end, defending democracy is never an expense. It's an investment into the future of our children. The second lesson that we've learned is that there can never be peace without justice. A country that refuses to confront the truth about past crimes condemns its future to denial. Justice is not a luxury that democracies pursue when convenient. It's the very foundation that makes reconciliation possible, as well as peace durable. In Kosovo, we continue to seek accountability for the genocidal crimes committed by the Milosevic regime, because the victims, all the victims, deserve truth, the survivors deserve dignity, and the criminals who committed these crimes deserve to face the force of law, not impunity. Justice cannot rewrite the past, but it can certainly protect the future. It is the only true path towards long-lasting peace and reconciliation between peoples. The third lesson is that Europe's future is stronger when we stand together. And yes, we hear this phrase way too often, but it's about time that Europe delivers on it. A Europe that remains incomplete always weakens itself. When enlargement stalls because of short-term domestic political considerations, the entire Union risks losing credibility. The same mindset that once welcomed countries like Poland and Baltic states and made them more resilient and prosperous must return. By investing in enlargement, Europe is not doing charity. It is investing in its own peace, in its own strength, and its own stability. Look at those countries today. They are pillars of European resilience. They show what happens when the vision of a Europe whole, free, and at peace is taken seriously. These lessons are not uniquely lessons of Kosovo. They are European. Europe was rebuilt on the conviction that dignity, peace, and inclusion are universal. The European Union is above all not just a peace project, an economic project, but also a moral project that turns memory into responsibility and solidarity into policy. Enlargement is not just a bureaucratic process to be postponed. It's a strategic imperative to be embraced. Therefore, every single hesitation creates space for malign actors to fill. Every delay emboldens those who do not share the same values as us. Kosovo does not ask for privilege. Kosovo asks for fairness, for a merit-based process. No shortcuts, but a clear and credible path. No special treatment, but respect. Respect for the work we have done and the reforms that we continue to undertake. Europe will be stronger when every single nation that believes in its values can sit at its table and shoulder its responsibilities. Allow me to now speak directly to the students in this room. Your generation carries a double responsibility. You must defend the institutions that you inherit, but you also must improve them because they do need improvement. You must protect the freedom that others fought to deliver. Do not accept the idea that democracy is a story already told. It is a manuscript that still needs your hands on every single page. It asks for your commitment and, of course, your curiosity, your compassion, and your courage. Some will say the world is too complicated for principles. But the principle that every human being is equal in dignity is the most powerful idea Europe ever produced. It is stronger than any army of lies and more enduring than any empire of fear. As I close, allow me to return where I began. My childhood during an apartheid-like regime. We had been kicked out of schools, but solidarity became our way of survival. People gave up their houses so that they can turn into schools. It was a small underground room in a neighbor's house that became our classroom. The teacher wrote on a board that rested on a chair. The chalk was almost finished. The light was weak. There were no chairs, but the room was full. And the lesson was strong. The will was even stronger. Freedom begins where people insist on their dignity. Democracy begins where citizens decide to act like owners of their future. Peace begins where justice is allowed to speak. And there is nothing that can stand on the way of a people that wants to be free. From Berlin to Pristina, from Europe's historic heart to Europe's youngest republic, let us renew this common pledge. We will choose democracy every single day because we've seen the opposite of it. We've lived the opposite of it. We will seek justice until it is real. We will demand that our institutions deliver for every single citizen. And we will defend the idea of Europe not just as a memory of the past, but as a promise to our children. Dear friends, democracy is always worth the effort. Justice is always worth the struggle. And peace is always worth the sacrifice. If we remember these truths and act on them together, our continent will remain a home where freedom grows, where law protects, and where hope is not just a slogan, but a way of life. Thank you very much. Faleminderit shumë. Danke schön.